Hi, my name is Tachina.
And I'm Susan Baker.
I'm going to be interviewing Ms. Baker on prejudice and stereotypes in the past. So we can get started. Okay, so Ms. Baker, have you seen any stereotypes or prejudice or just negativity against a certain race, gender, age, religion, culture in the past movies that you have saw?
Yes, I was a child and a high school student and college student during the 70s and a child during the 60s. And so, yes, I saw quite a bit of sexism and stereotyping.
Okay. In the 1945 through like 1975 time period, people were still racist and prejudice was still at an all-time high, especially in movies. A lot of directors in that time period did films that were very prejudiced and expressed blacks in particular as only a slave and meant to clean, cook, and take care of the whites' children. Why do you think that people from this time period couldn't get over the notation that blacks weren't slaves anymore? I know there was a lot. So
I'm not sure that black people were treated like slaves in the 60s and 70s.
They weren't treated like slaves, but in the movies, like they kind of perceived them to like only be meant to like cook and like clean and like take care of white children. Like they weren't treated like one, but whites still kind of didn't want to get over the fact that this is not what they were just meant to do anymore. You know.
And in the South, that was something that was seen in daily life as well.
Yeah, not just movies.
Yeah, that black people were hired to for those roles, and it was surprising to have somebody, a college graduate, out doing another role. That was just beginning to be seen in the 60s and 70s in integrated society in Mississippi.
Okay. So, what do you think is the biggest stereotype you have saw in movies from 1945 through 1975?
The one that I remember most, because I'm female, are all the depictions of women wearing aprons, cleaning the house, and cooking and fixing their hair up, and looking very, very glamorous. But not being particularly smart, kind of the dumb blonde stereotype.
Yeah. Many people in that time period got influenced by the people around them, their families, or just like what society was telling them or wanted them to believe or who to like. Do you believe that movies played a role in making people believe something?
Very much so. I think that books, I read a lot more books than saw movies, because in that day you went to the movie theater and paid money. So any given movie, if it was your favorite movie ever, you might see it twice. But typically we only saw those once. But books we could read over and over and over and over again.
Okay. Have you experienced any prejudice stereotypes in your life, personally, like towards you?
Very much so. When my first day on the job as an RN, I was asked to make the pot of coffee. I didn't know how to make coffee, for one thing, because I never had it to drink. But that was not in my job description at all, and for a physician to ask me to do that was not right. I told him I didn't know how to make coffee, and I never learned until like 3 or 4 years ago, because I figured that was a good way to handle it. I was shouted at once because a physician was speaking to me. He had his back to the monitor, and one of my patients went into VTAC, which is a very serious condition. So I left the doctor went running into the room to give emergency meds, and he shouted at me for not listening to what he was saying. It was a very, very paternal thing. That has changed over the years, and I think you'll find that there are a lot more men in nursing now. There is a lot more of a partnership in caring for patients, and that's all for the good.
Well, it was nice interviewing you.
Thank you.
And yeah. So
Thanks so
Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom. Oh, freedom over me. And before I be a slave, I'll be buried in my grave and go home to my Lord.